Fox News Early Prime, breaking down business news and its impact on your bottom line. Your World with Neil Cavuto.
That's how I do business. That's why I am business.
Bold positions and brash opinions on the topics America is talking about. The Five.
How do you think this will set in with the American people?
Be the pulse of the nation.
Washington insight and political know-how from the best in the Beltway. Special report with Brett Baer.
The epicenter of the political world is here.
The number one place for fair and balanced coverage. Fox News Channel.
What's wrong with working hard to make our lives and our kids' lives better? Nothing. At Fox Business, we don't have a problem with success. We have a very big problem with those who get in the way of it. We don't come out of the box bashing those who make money, just the politicians stealing it and the bureaucracies wasting it. We're not just sitting behind a desk. We're out in the field, on the floor, with the folks. Because when a story moves forward, so do we.
Fox Business, the power to prosper. Check your local listings.
Hi, this is JP from Penn Flooring here in Ocala. I would like to invite you to come in and visit our spacious showroom where we have solutions for every style and budget. From wall-to-wall carpet to hardwood floors and tiles, we have an unsurpassed selection of flooring. At Penn Flooring, we've provided quality customer service with a family touch for over 25 years. Visit our website at pennflooring.com or come by our showroom, 1201 Southwest 17th Street, just over the bridge. Penn Flooring, quality customer service with a family touch.
Ooh, a xylophone. Sounds dreamy.
Yeah, they don't make them like this anymore, Robin. I'm shipping it to the Musical Historical Society.
And you're packing it like that?
What, this won't work?
Why don't you take it to the Personal Service Center at the corner of Northeast 25th Avenue and 24th Street in Ocala? Just look for the yellow signs.
Great idea. That'll save me a lot of time.
The passing of time.
Personal Service Center makes sending packages easy.
And quick, call 789-6683.
For the Personal Service Center.
Wow, I can't believe what I'm seeing. Who did this?
P&P Tikis and more, of course. Now I have a tiki hut for shade, and I can enjoy the sounds of my cascading fountain while feeding my koi fish in my own pond. They even fixed my fence and redid all my landscaping. Nice to see a professional, reliable, family-owned business. Yes, P&P Tikis is the natural Florida tiki builder and water features designer. With free estimates, P&P Tikis is licensed and insured. Call 352-877-3307 for your very own tiki hut and more. That's 352-877-3307. P&P Tikis.
Is your credit headed in the wrong direction? If so, Florida Credit Union can help turn it around. If the signs are reading missing payments, maxing out cards, or borrowing from financing companies, it's time to steer your credit to safety. Pull into a Florida Credit Union today and let us help you map out a personalized credit management plan. Get a free credit report analysis and advice to help you consolidate wisely. A better plan can get you to a better place. Florida Credit Union, connecting your money to your life. Federally insured by the NCUA.
What you may have missed on the John Tesh Radio Show.
If your toddler seems to end up wearing more of their food than they eat, don't freak. Messy eaters, we now know, they tend to pick up language more easily. Instead, our biggest dementia risk boils down to the foods we eat. Stay away from red meat, butter, sweets, and fried food. If you're trying to make a good impression on a man, do not worry about small flaws in your appearance like a chipped fingernail or a stain on your shirt, because chances are he won't even notice.
Intelligence for your life on the John Tesh Radio Show. Don't miss this stuff.
Stay informed on everything going on in the villages with the Village Spectator newspaper. The Village Spectator is exclusively devoted to the villages with news, commentary, and more. And yes, they have Tom's Picks, a free referral for people who are looking for a company to do work for them. Tom's Picks will refer the company that fits your needs, and all we ask is that you tell them where you heard about them. Call Tom's Picks at 804-1223 and pick up your copy of the Village Spectator today.
Now read Ocala Downtown newspaper online.
All right, thank you. 5 minutes after 8 o'clock. Usually at this time, you hear Galen Unold calling in from Life South Community Blood Center. I got a message from him this morning that said he wouldn't be able to call in because he would be in a meeting. So on his behalf, let me just tell you that if you are able to donate blood, and the only way you'll find out if you're eligible is by going down there and attempting to do it. And they'll ask you a bunch of questions. And if you are not able to, they'll say, oh, I'm sorry, you're not eligible, but thank you for coming in. And it's really... I mean, I'm one to talk. I'm not one to talk, really, because I was 40-something years old. I can't remember, maybe 42. I can't remember how old I was, early 40s. So I've been donating blood only for 18 years. I'm 60 now. Mm-hmm. So I waited really late in life to finally realize that I could do this. And you've been doing it since you were 17, so you've been saving lives for that long, right? So the thing that happened for me is it was a little girl in our community right here in Ocala that was in the news because she was suffering from cancer, I think. And the Life South Bloodmobile happened to be in the parking lot of the job I had at that time. And so I went out. Let me tell you part two to this. I was watching the women I work with go out, no problem. Just going out. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, gosh, these little women, I'm more afraid of doing this than them. I can do this, you know? So I went out and I did it. And I've always thought that the real reason that I was afraid was not the fear of the needle. I was afraid that I would pass out and then be embarrassed. And you know, it didn't happen at all. I know sometimes people do, and it's not to scare you, it's just to be honest with you. Yeah. And it takes, now that I've done it so many times, it's really nothing. You know, I think the better the phlebotomist, my opinion, the better the phlebotomist, the more likely it is that you'll have a good experience.
Exactly.
But even the beginning phlebotomists, once they get it, they got it, and then you just sit there and you bleed into a bag, and
then you're set. You're set to go.
Yeah, and you leave, and you feel good about it. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so Life South Community Blood Center is on Silver Springs Boulevard. I want to continue with the prayer stories, by the way.
Yes, please.
How many people are, anytime your blood is used, well, I can't say anytime, but I bet almost every time. Mm-hmm. I bet almost every time blood is being used, that person receiving that blood is getting somebody to say prayers for him or her.
Oh, I bet.
I bet you.
I bet right away.
So anyway, I just want to thank Penn Flooring. They are the ones who sponsor the segment that we do every morning with Galen Unold and Life South. They're the ones who make it possible for us to do this. They have some beautiful flooring, some carpeting, some linoleum, some wood flooring, and probably flooring that I don't even know. They've been doing this for over 25 years. They will install it. They'll give you tips on how to take care of it. And they've got a beautiful showroom so you can see some of the choices. The showroom is at 1201 Southwest 17th Street, just over the bridge, called the McKay-Williams Bridge. Mm-hmm. Named after two governors from the state of Florida who have connections with Ocala.
Yeah.
Right? All right. So donate blood if you can. All right. Now, I want to get back to the prayer stories. All right. And I have another one. This one is written by Deborah R. Kolodny, and Deborah is a Jewish woman. She says, at 7 a.m. on Thursday, I got a call from Susie, my father's wife. She blurted out, I don't think Sid is going to make it. So that would be
her dad.
She says, what? I responded, panicking. What do you mean? The surgery went well, she said. I mean, the surgery went wrong, she said. The doctors don't know if he's going to make it. They really don't know. I bet they didn't want me to call you yet. It hasn't been 24 hours. Should I come now? No, wait until I can tell you something more definitive. So she's living a long distance away. She lives in Silver Spring, Maryland. Mm-hmm. An hour later, Susie called again and told me that the doctors were not happy at all that she called me. They really didn't know what was going on with my father, but he wasn't in immediate danger. No, I shouldn't come yet, she said. He coded on the table, which means he died, and they revived him. They didn't know whether or not his brain was damaged. They had put a defibrillator in his heart, and they had thought it went fine, but he was in a permanent state of tachycardia, his heart beating wildly. He had inhaled saliva, so he had pneumonia with a high fever. His blood oxygenation was low. He was on a breathing tube, so he was under heavy sedation in a medically induced non-responsive state. She said she would call me later with more information. I don't know how many times we talked that day, but in the evening I decided that I was going to fly the next day. I got there as soon as I could, which, because of the flight availability, was not soon enough, something around 4:30 p.m. By this time, my father had been in the same state for at least 48 hours. I didn't know what to do, but I am Jewish, and what do Jewish people do at the bedside of someone who is sick? Well, we recite or sing the Tehillim Psalms. I don't know what they are. If you know what they are, you can help me out. T-E-H, I'm sorry?
Isn't it their way to pray?
I don't know. Tehillim, T-E-H-I-L-I-M.
I have to look it up.
She says, my father is an atheist, but I'm not. In fact, I'm a rabbinical student. I decided that he would forgive me for doing the only thing I could figure out to do. Besides, he's a musician, so he would appreciate the music. So I sang the Psalms. With all my heart and all my soul and with all my might, I sang those Psalms. It wasn't long. A few minutes later, my father, whom the nurses said was non-responsive, meaning that he would have no awareness of what was going on around him due to the sleep sedation, turned his head to face me and stretched out his neck as if to get closer to the song. I was heartened for 3 hours until they kicked me out of the ICU. I sang. And while I was there, over 3 hours, I watched the monitors surrounding his bed. I sang Psalms, and his fever went down from 103 to 102 to 101 to 100 to 99. I sang Psalms, and his blood oxygenation came up from 80% to 85% to 90% to 95%. I sang Psalms, and his heart rate stabilized. The next morning, when Susie and I returned, his temperature, heart rate, and blood all remained in good shape. I continued to sing. One of his doctors came in. He explained that he had lowered the sedative dosage enough so that my father could hear his voice. And if my dad still had his mind, he would respond to a simple request. The doctor came back a little bit later when my father's fog was only partial. Watching him contort and struggle with the pain and discomfort of the thick respirator tube was almost impossible to bear. Then the doctor asked him to stick out his tongue. I was holding my breath. Was his mind there? What would happen at this request? Never would I have thought that the sight of my father's tongue would bring such excitement, but there it was, and there were my tears. Even with this progress, with a normal temperature and a stable heart rate and a solid oxygenation level, the doctors were not sure that my dad was strong enough to come out of sedation. They kept him under for another 10 days.
Wow. Wow.
When they brought him out, he went through several days of predictable physical weakness and sedation-induced dementia. But after that, his health returned to the same state he was in before the surgery. He had lost no heart strength, his mind was 100% whole, and he regained his muscle strength very quickly. He does not recall my singing. He does not remember anything from that time, but he does like to hear the story.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that an amazing story?
Yeah. Well, he did. He stretched his neck and opened his eyes, and he was aware at that moment, even though he can't remember. She touched him.
Let me see if I can get another one in before the break. Are you ready?
Okay.
This is written by Deborah. Oh, wait. That's the same one I just read. Hold on. This one is by Lori Obadowski.
Okay.
From Ontario, Canada.
Okay.
The city of Brampton, Ontario, Canada. She writes, my husband and I are seniors and not up to snuff when it comes to technology and all those new gadgets. Our children, God bless them, try to keep us up to date by gifting us with machines that perform all sorts of wonderful things.
Wow.
On a hot day last summer, the power went off for about an hour. Then everything came back on except our TV. One blank blue screen was all we got. We called the cable company, and they said everything was fine on their end. We called the neighbors. They said their TVs were fine, and they're on the same system we are. Well, we pushed buttons. We read the manual. We reread the manual. Nothing worked, and we got frustrated and even a little bit angry at our own incompetence. Finally, we decided to let the TV rest a while. Try later. 4 hours later, we tried again, but still saw nothing but the big blue screen.
Wow.
We pushed more buttons, said some nasty words, looked at each other. There was nothing else that we could do except sit there and stare at the big blue screen.
Wow. They got these people around them. They could have done something else.
So we thought, now we'll have to call a repair person, and that will become expensive. Then, in the same instant, my husband and I had this wonderful idea. Why not ask St. Benedict for help? We had heard somewhere that he was quite good at solving this kind of a problem.
Really? Who knew?
So we silently asked, and I guess this qualifies as a prayer. We silently asked for help. We did nothing else after that but stare at the blue screen. Then, unbelievably, the screen got lines and twirls, And in less than a minute, everything was back on track. I got goosebumps because I am not much of a believer. I'm a doubting Thomas when it comes to praying. I am still in a state of disbelief, but there is no other explanation why this happened. I know it is rather a silly prayer story, but it is a true one. And if nothing else, it made me believe in the power of prayer. I know now, without a doubt, that no request is too small or too big for God to answer.
Oh, wow. I love
Kind
that
of
statement.
She titled it a silly prayer story, but I wanted to share it with you.
Yeah.
All right, now we'll take the break, and we'll be right back. I hope you're enjoying these. If you have any prayer stories, I would love to hear them. It's the National Day of Prayer.
Yeah, it is.
Which is why we're doing this. And if you want to go downtown and be with some of your fellow Ocalans, they're doing something on the square.
Yep, not just Christians, all denominations.
All denominations, and we're doing this all day, but specifically at noon. There will be some proclamations, etc.
Yep.
Some of our VIPs will be there.
Of course.
So we'll take a little break and be right back. I'll read some more of these prayer stories when we come back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. Nice day today. Partly sunny, a high of 82 to 87, and it will stay clear tonight, a low 58 to 65. Partly sunny with a few showers moving through tomorrow, high of 86 to 89. And more showers are possible Saturday, but it looks largely dry and partly sunny, high 87 to 92. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Maggie Johnson.
Hi, Danny Warfel here. Get moving with Florida Credit Union's fast and easy loan approval process.
Let Florida Credit Union start up a new car loan for you today. No more waiting, hassles, or stop signs. You can even apply online. With a strong financial team behind you, you can enjoy great rates and fast approvals.
It's all about personalized service and a streamlined process.
Florida Credit Union, connecting your money to your life.
Shop at Shannon Roth Collection for your special someone this Mother's Day. We'll guide you to the perfect gift to make you a winner in your lady's eyes. We have hobo handbags, 4 new cutting-edge jewelry lines, 6 new apparel lines, shoes, that on-the-go favorite as well, chocolate. And don't forget, we have free gift wrapping to make your shopping experience a breeze at Shannon Roth Collection. The Shannon Roth Collection located on the Historic Square in downtown Ocala.
Career Source Citrus Levy Marion brings together business and community partners, economic development leaders, and educational providers to connect employers with qualified, skilled talent and job seekers with employment and career development opportunities. Tune in the first and third Wednesday of each month, 9:30 a.m. to Career Source Citrus Levy Marion and learn how they can help you.
That was the sound of a tree falling. It could be your tree. You're going to have it trimmed, but never got around to calling Pride Tree Service. It could have fallen in a field, and now all you have to do is call Pride Tree Service, and they'll have it quickly out of the way for a great price. But don't wait until the tree falls. It may not fall in the field. It may hit your car, your house, or worse. So call Pride Tree Service today and avoid all those headaches before they happen. Pride Tree Service, 840-0750. That's 840-0750.
WWWOCA,
Your source for the #1 sports weekend, Fox Sports, only on 96.3 FM, 1370 AM. We are The Source, WOCA.
All right, thank you, Dan. 20 minutes after 8 o'clock. It's a beautiful Thursday morning. 62 degrees here at the studios of The Source, broadcasting live from the Paddock Mall. Today's forecast looks sunny. High temperatures around 90 degrees. Lows tonight around 60. Not bad, huh? Tomorrow, partly cloudy. Highs in the lower 90s. Lows tomorrow night around 63. Tomorrow night, by the way, is the Student Media Festival. Yep. It is free. It's at the, tell me the name of the school again?
Westport High School.
Westport High School.
7 p.m.
Thank you. So
is
if you
when
want,
it
if you want to go and
starts.
watch the work of some students who've been studying how to make films, everything from kindergarten all the way through the 12th grade.
Yep.
It is fun. Robin and I are two of the presenters of the awards, which is always an honor for us. It's always fun.
It's always an honor because we judge every year.
We
too.
do judge as well.
We judge every year. It's wonderful.
But anyway, if you want to come out there, it's usually packed. So.
Yes, it is.
All right, so that's tomorrow, and then Saturday and Sunday, temperatures remaining in the lower 90s and during the day, and dropping to the mid 60s at night.
Mm-hmm.
No mention of rain in the weekend forecast. So
Oh, nice.
not bad.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get back to some of these prayers. Today is the National Day of Prayer. Hope you're enjoying this.
Mm-hmm.
I really have enjoyed reading some of these stories. The stories that I'm reading to you are from a book called 101 Inspirational Stories of the Power of Prayer. They're written by each contributor, and then the lady who put it all together is a nun, a Catholic nun, and her name is somewhere in my notes here. I'll find it.
Sister Patricia Proctor. You said.
Very good. Yes,
That's
you're
what
right.
you said.
That's her name. All right, so let me read you another one. Oh, don't forget at noon today. At noon today at the square, the national anthem and some proclamations. It doesn't say who is going to be there. I imagine that our mayor will be there.
Mm-hmm.
Mayor Kent Gwynn.
Yep.
Who's that gentleman?
Probably for the veterans.
Oh, for the veteran show. All right. So the next story. Well, I have to wait for Robin. I want to have Robin's comment on this one. Well, anyway, so there's from 7 a.m. till 7 p.m. is the events today down on the square. Good morning. How you doing? Oh, I know who he is. All right. I don't want to read this without you here. Okay. Because I want your commentary on these stories.
Okay.
All right. The next one is titled "He Messed with Me." It is written by Daniel E. Halley from Hazelwood, Missouri, and this is what is written. I used to feel quite lonely in my prayer life, even though I felt I was praying very piously and with great reverence on a daily basis. It did not seem to be making a big difference in my life. I participated in Eucharistic adoration and scripture study on a weekly basis. I prayed the scriptural rosary daily. I prayed the liturgy of the hours regularly, but even with all these opportunities to be closer to the Trinity, I felt quite often that my prayers were not satisfying or even noticed by God.
Oh.
Last year, without warning, I went from being fairly healthy and active to being disabled due to illness. I had to medically retire from my occupation of 30 years as a paramedic and paramedic instructor. During those years, I had been awarded and honored numerous times for my teaching and clinical skills, but now it was all over, forever. I was angry at everyone, myself, others, and especially God for letting this happen to me. I went to church and prayed to God hard and loud. My dialogue with him would have been considered for mature audiences only. I asked God, why are you doing this to me? I was good at my job, and I have helped many people in their times of distress. What am I going to do to support my family? God, you are unfair. All I heard or felt for an answer to my prayers was, thank you for talking to me. Come back and let's talk again tomorrow. What? Tomorrow? Oh, I'll show you, I said. I went back the next day and the next. I kept going back again and again. I started reading books, including the Bible, in earnest. I began listening to podcasts and trying anything and everything to figure out why this was happening to me. I went to confession for the first time in about 10 years. Slowly, over the past year, I have pretty much moved through my anger. I have asked for forgiveness from everyone, especially God. I realize now that my suffering was and is a necessary component in my life. I needed to be humble instead of proud and boisterous in my prayer. I needed not only to talk to God, but also to listen to him. I still pray and attend all the church activities as before, but now I can honestly say that I have never been more Catholic and possibly happier in a long time. God definitely works in a mysterious and unorthodox way. He messed with me, and I love him more now than I ever have.
That is amazing. He was looking for answers as to why he was in the dregs, and he found something wonderful.
Yeah. If you happen to get this book, I think it was 99 cents as a downloadable book. So I think the actual book is like $14, but it's called 101 Inspirational Stories of the Power of Prayer. The next one It's called Notebook of Miracles. It's a little bit lengthy. It's written by Susan Walker from Wheeling, Illinois. But let me read it to you. You ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
One day while I was sitting in my car, a song came on the radio. It's called I've Always Loved You by Third Day. I had heard the song many times before, but this time the words spoke to my soul. The words were, "Don't you know I've always loved you, even before there was time? Though you turn away, I'll tell you still, don't you know I've always loved you?" There, in the parking lot, I realized that song was the long-awaited answer to one of my prayers. It was a prayer that began a long time ago when I begged God to show me the way to deal with a troublesome relationship, one that I had endured for many years, as it slowly but continuously ate away at my self-esteem. I had just left an appointment with my spiritual director at church and was feeling down about the direction my life was heading. But the words from the song began to make sense. How could God ever explain his love in words if I regularly ignored his miracles, signs, and wonders? I mean, if they weren't enough to prove God's love for me, then what would? Just then, a soft, gentle rain began to dance on my windshield. I watched and cried as the droplets hit the glass and rolled down. I had been so caught up in my own world of pain and my loveless marriage to an alcoholic that I rarely noticed the rain or any of the other small wonders of my daily life. Less than an hour earlier, I was telling my spiritual director how I felt I had traded years in a no-win relationship for bits of my soul, and in the process I lost so much of who I was and all that mattered to me. He listened compassionately and then gently asked, "If God could give you anything right now, what would you ask for?" Without hesitation, I replied, "I want God to give me a miracle."
Wow.
My desire was for God to wave some sort of magic wand and say, poof, to solve my problems and to fix my husband and take away his addictions. I wanted the happily ever after that we are promised as little girls. I wanted to love and be loved in a healthy relationship. I wanted my husband to find God, or at least for God to find him. I wanted everything to be perfect without my having to do all of the work. My spiritual director smiled and asked me to be on the lookout for my miracle. He asked me to make a list of all the miracles I encounter each day and to keep praying to God for what I needed. We prayed together and I left, and as I left, he reminded me our God is a God of miracles. So there I sat in the church parking lot, his suggestion of a miracle list still fresh in my mind, and a song playing on the radio. The song continued, "I don't know how to explain it, but I know that words will hardly do if miracles, signs, and wonders aren't enough for me to prove to you." Those are some of the words in the song. The rain kept falling. A little miracle, perhaps? Was it God's way of starting to cleanse my soul? It occurred to me that if I did focus on seeking out the little miracles and tiny wonders that are all around me, I might learn a bit of the lesson I needed before my life and relationship could change. So I found a piece of paper and wrote, quote, "One gentle rainstorm and a perfect song," unquote. I decided that I would identify just one little gift from heaven each day and spend a few minutes thanking God for it. I recorded my little miracle in a notebook. Each has a date and inscription such as "saw a butterfly" or "my daughter has the most beautiful blue eyes." It didn't take long before I realized that as I looked for the little signs of God's love for me, I found more than I could count. And many of the signs were not so little. My notebook of miracles was quickly filled. God never did fix my husband or solve my problems for me, but he has changed me. He has been working on me and rebuilding me over these last few years so that now I can deal with the relationship differently. I got my miracle, the one I needed instead of the one I prayed for. I came to see that God shows his love for me all the time. He never stops loving us, and he never tires of showing us the depths of his love. As the song says, "Don't you know I've always loved you, and I always will?"
Oh, just chills. This is a chilling story.
All right, we'll be right back.
Fox News Radio. I'm Lillian Wu. At least 20 people are hurt in Oklahoma, slammed by twisters like the one which kept this man on the run.
We got down in the basement. It actually flung the basement doors open and threw some tree debris and stuff down in the basement.
Tornadoes also sweeping through parts of Texas, Nebraska, and Kansas, where forecasters say at least 9 tornadoes were reported. A St. Louis man accused in a killing linked to a Craigslist ad. Police